gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Flappcast. The end has come. I'm Barbara Holliday, owner of Flappers Comedy Club. And
I'm Joshua Snyder, planning my escape.
And we have a very hilarious headliner here with us who also happens to be a vet, Mr. James P Connolly.
That would be me.
That applause was kind of measly.
It was. No, it's about the same with the number in the room.
We're gonna beef up this applause as soon as
when I talk, I expect massive applause every time.
As soon as my sound effects download.
I was gonna say, yeah, you gotta pot up that thing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you've listened to our podcast before, Jim has been here with us and done a lot of comedy. Today is such a strange day, though. I don't even know where to begin. We have to talk about the election.
Michelle Obama 2020.
Can we talk about it? I mean, we really do. Today is the day after Trump was elected the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that for documentary purposes, and I hope we'll be alive tomorrow.
Remember when that sentence would have gotten a laugh?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, there, and it not to be not funny. It's very hard for me not to. But there is going to be a lot of comedic material that will no longer play because the comedic emotional angle was that this is a farce. Mm-hmm. And now that this is not a farce, it's a reality. There's going to have to be some rewriting of the way things are done because it's not going to make sense anymore.
Though one would argue that the farce in many ways will continue.
Yeah, but the bit will need to adjust for the reality because you're like, because I've heard a lot of material that I'm going through my head going, you're gonna have to rewrite that.
Well, it's usually a comic's dream when something like this happens because we do get a lot of fodder. But I'm finding today it's been every single person I've spoken to, not only in California but other states as well. I have a lot of friends in other states, and I'm not sure who the Trump voters are. I know they're out there, and I know actually my own dad is one of them, so I can't say I don't know any. But it does seem like such a strange energy today. That's all. It just
they said there was a big it's a lot of people in rural areas voting for Trump.
White males.
Yeah.
I feel bullied today. That's what I want to say. I feel like a big bully came and beat us up or something. I don't know. I just have a strange.
Well, it's interesting if you and I don't often turn to the Facebook feed to decide what the emotional temperament of the world is, but it seems a general malaise and vengeance. There's nothing in between. There's either people are shocked and overwhelmed and just defeated, or there are people taking to Facebook to, go ahead.
Shout hate.
Which is, thumb there. So there's not. There's the unity speech, and there's the hope that people can work together. But I think it's hard to buy it yet. You know what I mean? There's people saying it, and I know they want to believe it, but it's hard. 24 hours after people are feeling shocked, I don't think that people really buy into it yet.
Well, from a comedy perspective, this is a question for a seasoned veteran of James P Connolly, not only a veteran of comedy, but a veteran of
I will field this question
the
as
country.
The only seasoned veteran in the room.
I am not a vet, a veteran of comedy, I guess, but you are both. I want to ask how soon is too soon. Are you planning on making some jokes about Trump, or now that he's the president, is it off limits? Can we still really? I mean, I know when Bush was in office, it took a good 4 years before people actually. If you made fun of Bush in the first 4 years, you were like an anti-American, And then after about 4 years, then people started doing the jokes, and it was kind of okay.
I think given the change in the temperament and the way that people treat the Oval Office, I think they expect it tonight. Because I mean that seriously. No, I'm legitimately. I mean, I'm hosting a show tonight. I will probably open with some comment because it is unavoidable. I don't think you have to dwell. You can still do what you want to do, but I don't see how you can avoid something that it's rare that something is so massive that affects everybody, and then to get on stage and pretend that it didn't happen.
I'm not even political.
Right,
I have to say, I normally wouldn't even follow an election.
Neither is the president. That's what concerns me.
Well, I think you comment on the emotion. You comment on the feeling. You don't have to comment on the politics. You can comment on the feeling because that's
what's going
that's
on.
what's appropriate to everyone. Because everyone may differ politically in the room, but there's a commonality of the day after feeling. There's a similarity to the hangover that people are feeling right now.
Not in California. We're seceding. That's kind of.
Well, but that's been, people always say that all the time. So I think even if we ever did it, nobody would bat an eye. They'd be like, well, okay, California, always on the brink of leaving.
Hey, but there is one bright side. At least pot is legal now, because we're going to need to smoke a lot of it with this guy in office. Right? No, that was interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's
I
gonna
think
be
I
big.
think that time has come. I think it's unavoidable.
But
I
here's my
think-
question
yeah.
about that, because it's legal in California, but isn't it still illegal at the federal level?
It is still legal at the federal level, and I heard something about that where like on how they're going to do that on campuses because the state law says you can smoke it, but yet the campus police are federal funded, so it's like, or vice versa, the campus police work for the state, but so there's going to be some it's going to be interesting to be arrested, but not really. But we have to, but we can't
Well,
take you
and I
in.
think
But I got to, I can't do it.
But it's also up to the administration, because the Obama administration, for instance, would not enforce it. But who knows? If Trump is going to be, I don't know what Trump's stance is on marijuana.
Well, I think that I'm in the wrong business. I mean, I actually heard that local marijuana farmers are not happy about it passing because now it's going to be corporatized, that it's legal in the state. Do you guys think that's true? I mean, like, big business is going to come in and just
There's
make
always
money off of
someone,
it?
when you're making money on the black market, nobody wants corporate America to come in and start rebranding and taking over. I mean, I think that's normal. I'm sure bootleggers felt the same way when they repealed prohibition, that suddenly their business was gone.
Can I just say, too, by the way, you mentioned the black market. I would argue that the market is the black market. And the black market, that's the market we all enjoy. That's
The market?
yes, the market, exactly.
Exactly.
That needed.
If a corporation, and maybe that's the one. We see people joking about this on Facebook, but we shouldn't be too worried about Trump because the real president's been Goldman Sachs anyway.
So here's a real veteran question. Sorry, that deserved a little something there. Here's a real question for the vet.
But no
though.
symbol.
I was going to say, you just got drummed, no
Sorry.
symbol.
There you go. Dang. Hey, this weekend, Mr. Connolly is here because we are doing his annual amazing show for veterans. And it's actually all the performers in the show are also veterans.
Yeah, it's great. Usually we do like a charity, one night, one show. This weekend, I'll be headlining the whole weekend. And we also have Mark Valley, stage, film, TV star.
Google that guy, man.
Roguishly good-looking,
Ugh.
upsettingly to some degree, being on the same bill. And Jose Barrientos, who's an Army veteran.
And a Latino.
Well, we would have implied that from the Jose Barrientos.
He
but
might
yeah.
get kicked out of the
Exactly,
country now. So
exactly.
let's see if he's still here by Friday.
And PJ Walsh, who's also a Navy veteran as well. And PJ does a lot he was an American Ninja Warrior. We got all that. And we're going to give some proceeds to the Semper Fi Fund.
That's super cool.
So thank you, Flappers, for cutting at that. And of course, the Semper Fi Fund, I'm just saying this off the top of my head, provides immediate financial assistance and lifetime support to post 9/11 wounded, critically ill, and injured members of all branches of the armed forces and their families, ensuring that they have the resources they need during their recovery and transition back to their communities. And that's off the top of my head.
So I've got a question for you.
Shoot.
So when I imagine you are performing in front of the military, do you do many of those shows where the military is in the audience?
I have done those, yeah.
How do you handle politics in that arena? Because I think it seems like Trump does have a lot of support from the military and from people who are pro-military. Do you?
I'm pretty sure, even in my experiences in the military, when I first went in, I think a drill instructor got on the bus and just immediately, one of his first questions was, how many Democrats do we have? And, I just thought it was an innocent political polling. And, of course, myself and a guy from Minnesota raised our hand, and that was it. And it suddenly dawned on like, oh, my God, he's trying to vet out liberals. So it was that was an eye-opening experience. I was like, mental note. Not a strong suit in the military.
Mm-hmm.
But, I personally don't do a lot on stage politically charged because I still try to, my goal is to bring in as many people possible, even if I'm making some subversive points in the bit. It's more like a Twilight episode with me. You have to, if you pay attention, you understand what I'm trying to say. But I didn't come to beat you over the head with politics. But if you're gonna, you can get the vibe of the room. I mean, it's pretty. I would say it skews to the right.
Do they actually give you limitations or comments about the material that you can and cannot do on a military show?
The only thing they give us every now and then, which is absolutely insane, is they ask us to keep it clean sometimes in front of people who are probably one of the most skillful vulgarity artists that I've ever met in my life. And so even sometimes we're told to keep it clean, and then we will get not heckled, but the participatory comments from the audience are less than clean. And so, but there's concerns, like, it's almost like doing a corporate show sometimes. There's concerns that if the military green lights complete freedom of speech, then things could get ugly. Somebody could get offended. But for the most part, they're just normal shows. I've never felt shackled, but every now and then you'll get a please keep it clean. Yeah, okay. And you're like, really? But they're not going to keep it clean. And they look at us like, what's wrong with you? Why are you speaking so so appropriately?
I've got another question for you too.
Yeah.
Because one thing we've talked about. Have you talked much, or have you started talking much about your actual service in the military on stage?
More and more, a little bit more and more, just because it's kind of like naturally bled. It's part of who I am, and I've always just kind of not spoken about it because it took me a while to figure out what was kind of funny or ironic or interesting about it. But yeah, more and more I do, because it just kind of people ask me questions like I'm some sort of an authority. And,
right.
And I am, by the way. So yeah, I've talked more and more about it. So it's which is kind of fun. And you talk to people, and particularly when you do military shows, and you just you're kind of listening to them, and you're like, oh, that's right, that happened to me too. And I probably, of the two of us, I'm probably the one that should make a joke about it.
So you're getting ready for, if I may give a little maybe secret preview for our
Well, there's nobody here in the room, so go ahead. Whoa, hey.
Somebody might be listening, but you're getting ready to shoot a special.
Yeah, we're trying to get that. Well, I'm not quite sure what the horse thing is, but
Josh,
we're
playing with our new sound effects. That was not meant to be disrespectful.
That's okay. No disrespect.
We're looking.
Yes, we're trying to tape a special.
It was a nay of approval.
It was the nay of approval.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to tape a special. We're trying to finish out and flush out the hour to meet the high standards of James P Connolly Institute of Videotape Comedy. And looking forward to doing that, too.
Are you thinking of doing some of this military material in
there?
Yeah,
definitely.
Do you have? Are you writing it all yourself, or do you have someone helping you?
Well, I write it all myself, but I also have a few friends that I will, bounce ideas off of, because their brains are extremely unique. And so sometimes I get stuck on something, and they look at me like well, why wouldn't you talk about this? I'm like, that's why I asked you.
Oh, that guy.
Plus, just bringing it here. I get on stage, and people come up to me, comics, go, hey, I like what you're doing with this, or have you thought about this? And so it's kind of a loose group effort with one man on the payroll.
This will be your first actual. I mean, you've been doing comedy over 20.
Yeah, and
5 years.
20.
20. Can I just say 20?
20. Let's hold it at 20.
He's been doing comedy over 20 years.
And I've done some CDs, but I haven't shot a special yet. So
it's time.
Well, you know what? I still have hair on the head, and my belly still's inside the belt line. So with that and some post-production Photoshop, I think we can make this thing look good.
Do it now.
Is he 25? Wait till we get done with post-production. It's gonna look great.
That's exciting.
That'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to doing it.
You're crafting out basically, I mean, how do you pull 20 years of material into, I mean, you must have more than an hour, obviously, but how do you decide?
Well, actually,
deciding?
It's interesting, because I started out doing a character, and so a lot of the material that I have, I cannot do, because I jump on stage as me now, and I can't.
The old, was it the lounge?
I can't.
Lounge
well,
guy?
It was kind of defies description at this point, but
jacket guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Vegas
so
jacket
there's
guy.
a lot of you have to go back. You have to buy the
Google
old CD to get that. But I can't really do that. So a lot of people in my position, you're sitting on 2 hours of material, but I'm not, because what that guy did is archived for history.
Well, that's true with
it's true.
I mean, you really do change a lot.
So
I mean, I'm not even sure, I mean, how long a shelf life material has, especially political material. I mean, that's not to bring it back to that, but, there is only a short time. We've four more years we have to make jokes. Hopefully,
to
only
8.
4.
Or 8.
Oh gosh, really? Please don't go there.
But I think the longer you sit on material too, as you get ready. I mean, you keep slightly, it mutates, so that maybe you wrote it.
So good.
You wrote it a couple years ago, and then all of a sudden things change in the world, and how you feel about it changes. So then you slightly mutate it with a different way in, or there's the changes occur over time that makes it fun, because suddenly it was about this and now it's about something slightly different because something happened. And so that's the fun part, because like that bit I was sick and tired of and now I love it.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
there's another thing too about you that I know, which is that you're also you're a bit of a comic book geek.
Oh yeah, I'm
is
a big
this
fan. I'm a big
true?
fan.
You are a huge nerd.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a big. Now,
I didn't know this.
I have a collection at home, and I have a young boy who is not of appropriate age to even physically touch the collection. But I have shown it to him, and I unveiled the box. And of course, each comic book is hermetically sealed individually to preserve its unique
So
color.
you never actually get to read it. You
No,
just
no, I've held it in
preserve
front of him at an appropriate angle, and I've shown him the pictures, and he reaches. I'm like, yeah. You don't get to touch that. So yeah, I actually, I was gonna get rid of some of them, but instead I just catalog them and I admire them.
So are these worth like millions of dollars? This is your retirement collection, or
And
what?
that would be very sad if my entire life was in the box.
Some of these things are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I got the baseball cards and the football and the basketball and the comic books that I keep.
But here's what I like though is that now, because comic books and sci-fi is kind of becoming more mainstream, I can have a conversation with someone about that in the open, the way that guys used to talk about sports in the open.
Exactly. You could go up to someone. Exactly. I 100% agree with you. It's now kind of like sports. It's like, so did you see the new Captain America? Well, yes, I did. And then you can have these incredible conversations. And I never thought that in my lifetime that the things that I loved as a kid would then become standard adult entertainment, so that I can actually openly share this with my 6-year-old son. I have an acceptable number of superhero T-shirts in my wardrobe that is okay for a middle-aged man, and it's awesome. And he and I have the same kind of discussions I've had with Josh. We have literal theoretical discussions on powers and limitations and what that probably is.
Did you see Doctor Strange?
Not yet. I
I've heard
chose
it's great
Hacksaw
though,
Ridge
right?
over Doctor Strange the other day, and that was phenomenally difficult to watch. But I'm going to do The Strange because I heard it's a good one.
Yeah, he can control
You
the entire
saw it? Josh
Doctor
saw
Strange.
it?
Yeah,
Oh
I did.
my
Of
gosh!
course
So you
Josh saw
don't
it.
reveal anything, but what's the quick review?
He can change the world and do amazing universal things with his magic, and also punch people. So it's a good.
It's good to know that when all your virtually super immortal powers, you can still punch people. That's
Right,
good to,
that's still an integral
it's
part of the
still-
plot.
Because that's what makes it like, well, maybe someday I could be Doctor Strange because I can punch people.
Right. I can't. I
Okay,
would
well,
hurt
it's-
myself.
So you'd
I'm
stay
not
with
even
the.
going to the movies anymore. Does anyone go to the movies anymore?
Oh yeah.
Really? Oh, I guess I'm.
I go at like
Behind
Sunday
the
at
curve.
9 p.m. When it's kind of mellow, and
Oh, that's a good time.
I hate going with other people. That's what I've learned. I like to go
Really?
alone because I
Oh.
don't want commentary. People comment.
During the movie, absolutely not. You go a lot,
You
Mr.
know,
Connolly.
sadly, I'm going to have to agree with Josh on this one. I do enjoy going by myself because I feel like I've come to enjoy this movie for myself on my terms. And what I don't need, particularly before I go see a movie, I don't care what you did that day. I don't even care what you had for lunch. I could give a flying crap about what you're doing after the movie. All I want is to enjoy the movie, and I can't handle commentary. I can't handle anything on the phone. So, and I'd love to talk about it afterwards if what you want to talk about is the movie. I'm all in for that. But, it's, yeah.
I saw a movie with a friend of mine, also a nerd, and halfway through the movie, I could just tell that he was annoyed by the way that he breathed, and it was just driving me crazy.
You were annoyed by the way that he breathed.
I could tell by his sighing. It was like, oh, don't, hey. Okay, I know the dialogue's bad.
I see. You were,
But-
and so your feelings toward the movie were altered.
He was
by
pulling
his
you
breathing.
out of the movie with his little idiosyncrasies.
With his
Exactly.
breathing, yes.
Exactly. I don't need your annoyance during the film. I'm the same way. And I love people, just not in a movie theater. That's really, that's it. I'm not even sure how these sound effects actually play and or affect
Chris
what we're
is
saying.
actually tagging my sound effects.
Okay.
I think this is
Can we
good.
just? I want to see what the dolphin one is.
Oh, stop!
Oh, dolphin.
Yeah, that's sound.
Yeah, come on, don't distract now. Here's the one for Trump.
That's
Is that
kind of a lot of
appropriate?
production value just to say idiot. Really, that's like bringing in the Mormon Tabernacle Choir just to sing.
I didn't mean to
Idiot.
be mean there. I'm sorry. That was. I don't want to call anyone. And. Oh, that is. It's like the. It's like a church choir. Anyway.
And that with such glee.
Yes. Well, we're just trying to up our production value on this podcast. How are we doing, fans? If we're doing good, please send me an email and let me know how we're doing. If okay.
It's getting annoying, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Okay, let's stop now.
Right.
We're stopping with the sound effects. We'll only do drum rolls now, or cymbals. Last time Mr. Connolly was with us, I don't know why I call him. I feel so. James P. Connolly is one of my favorite comedians of all time. I've known him since he began. I've seen his career grow, and I really have such a respect for him because he's really made a great career. And if you haven't seen him or heard him, I'm sure you've heard him because he's like the #1 downloaded comedian on Sirius satellite radio.
Yeah, still, when I go out on the road, I was in Utah, and a lot of people just came up to me and like, I think people just show up to see what I look like. And they've just heard me on the radio, and then no one ever has any idea. And I get the same things. I thought you'd be taller. You don't look anything like you sound. And I get it. And they mean that, of course, in a complimentary way. I'll take whatever insults the audience has to offer as long as they buy a CD. Pretty much. As long as it doesn't affect merch sales, I'm all in.
But you don't have your own podcast, or do you?
No, I mean, I used to host a show on XM, and I liked it. I liked the wardrobe. Because you could roll in Hollywood and T-shirt, maybe a good Superman or something off, like a Daredevil or something. And then what happened was social media started, and then people started wanting to take pictures with me after the radio show. And I was like, oh, crap, now I got to dress like I care because they're all showing up like, hey, I was on the radio today. And I'm like, see, I come here because, I could shower every other day, and we sit across the table from each other. So it definitely affected my wardrobe. I had to step up the game. Couldn't roll in because for like the first couple months I was, baseball cap, T-shirt, just unshaven. I thought that's what radio was about. Lack of personal hygiene. It's all about the product backed by lack of personal hygiene. And then it became this like visual production. And I was like, you're really stealing my thunder.
Well, and now they're they're live
around.
Facebooking it now too, and they're
Exactly.
recording it on YouTube. So
Right,
it's no longer even really radio.
No, it's almost archaic to say that I hosted a radio show, and you're like, because you could, do the same thing by throwing a couple mics in your living room and go Facebook Live. I mean, today I was listening on the radio when President Obama was speaking, and then I grabbed my phone, and it was Facebook Living, and I thought, well, why don't I turn off the radio and look at him?
And?
So I watched it on my phone instead of listened to it. So I totally shut down the radio because my phone was better. No, that just means I'm going to have to do a Facebook Live show. That's all. No.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what we're all going to be. That's probably what, yeah.
We'll call it Facebook Live before the shower. I'll maintain my integrity of poor personal hygiene. So all Facebook Live show will be me before I'm show ready.
That's a great idea. I literally was thinking about the same thing this weekend. I was traveling, and I ate a donut for breakfast, and I was goofing around with another comedian friend of mine, and I was like, we should do a show called Before the Donut. Right? Like everything that happens in the morning before you have a donut.
Hey, if I was going to do one, I would
So
definitely
dumb.
do something called Before the First Cup of Coffee, and I would watch the podcast grow in efficiency and enthusiasm as each cup of coffee was had. But you get two people, like 7 o'clock in the morning, bleary-eyed, belligerent, and you just have this horrid conversation. And then maybe by 7:45, you're really knocking it out. 8 o'clock, you leave them wanting more.
Do you think there'll come a time in the span of Earth's
Oh, this is a wide-scoped question.
Do you think there will come
It's
a time?
Joshua Snyder.
Do you think there will come a time where there will be zero audience on Earth because everyone will be performing or have a show?
I think we're getting close already. And I try to keep an open mind because I love the changing media. I love mutation. I disagree with some comics who get bitter that, this is the way it used to be. I'm like, that sounds like a dying old man who's angry because his coin purse is no longer the same financial wielding weapon that it used to be. But I try to watch some of the Facebook Live, and some of them I think are interesting, and some are just, they're just, the phone's at their face, and they're talking, and I'm just like, and the lighting's horrible. At a minimum, get the damn lighting right. That's all, that's the first step in any type of production. If it's a video production, and I'm not a genius, maybe I am, but light it. It's just this dark face talking to me, and I was like, that's before showering. Just light it. Just light it.
Well, there's a strange thing going on with the YouTube content and so forth is I think actually the videos that go viral and get more attention are the ones that are of the least production quality because there's a sense of us
real.
eavesdropping on it
Yeah.
or discovering something that just happened.
Right.
I think that's the whole real excitement behind
Yeah,
the
I agree, but
YouTube
it still has to be
millennium.
lit to a degree that
Yeah,
I can see what's
that you
going
have
on.
to be able
I mean,
to
it's
see
Well,
really,
something.
it's
you know,
really
it's
the-
funny, and it leads right back up to the election in a way, because I think what people are looking for is authenticity. And, you know,
Trump has that?
well, say what you will, he sounds like he believes what he's saying, and Hillary sounds like she's
Yeah, what is
talking points.
authenticity, right? If you believe what you say, are you being authentic?
Perception is reality. If people perceive authenticity, then they believe the authenticity, even if the
Do you think
authenticity
he's
is not
authentic,
authentic.
Josh?
Oh God, I
trumped you on that one.
There's no sound effect. on that.
I
There you go.
I'm terrified one way or the other, because if he genuinely believes what he's saying, then he has no idea what's happening here on Earth, and if he's that good of an actor, then I'm terrified that he's actually much smarter than we think he is, which is either way is terrifying. No matter what, I'm terrified. Can I borrow someone's attic?
Thank you.
Let's take a moment of silence now. The USA, where literally anyone can become president except a woman.
I tweeted earlier that this does open the door for Jersey Shore to become president. Now,
Jersey.
anyone
Wow.
can be president. Anyone on Snapchat right now, anyone can be president.
And someone will. Someone will soon. Except a woman.
I could be president.
No, now we're stretching reality to the
This is
point
going
where
way
the
too
viewers
far.
are going to go down.
So 2020, who's the Democrat?
Honestly,
Are you looking that far ahead?
I bet
we need some hope.
It's got to. I think it's got to be someone who's not on the radar right now, because I think the way things move so fast, it's going to have to be someone who comes out of nowhere, because anyone that comes out of somewhere is gonna they're gonna get well, the grind of the machine is so
Yeah.
fast that it's almost like we do need someone to come. I think we need to distract with someone, and then set up someone else, kind of like the roller derby whip move.
Good idea.
Or if you're a Marine, it's a flanking maneuver of suppressive fire before you take the enemy from the other side. But the concept is that, hey, here's the candidate. Yeah, attack, attack, attack. And then it's like, wha-ha! Snapchat candidate.
That's
You know what I think we should do?
Idea.
It's a great idea.
You know, I think we should get Tom Hanks.
Oh, he might be too old by then. No?
Who hates Tom Hanks? Christopher Titus has a great joke about. Do you remember his Tom Hanks joke?
No.
He said if Alec Baldwin punches a nun, people would go, "Oh my God, that Alec Baldwin's disgusting." If Tom Hanks punches a nun, people will go, "What did that nun do to Tom Hanks?"
I knew
Oh, that's
Christopher
funny.
Titus. Hashtag.
I think that's there's the bumper sticker for 2020. Tom Hanks punches nuns 2020.
I'm onto your idea, though. I think you're onto something with that distraction idea. That
It has to be
definitely-
someone to come out of the blue. I just don't think that anybody can survive the vetting of social media anymore. I think it's
Do you
just
think it will be a woman?
I hope so. At some point, I hope
Yeah.
that I mean, I think it's a matter of time. I know people say that, but I just think that there's a lot. I think there's a lot has happened in the last two cycles. Not to get too political, but that huge changes in the way. We had the first African American. He stepped forward well before his perceived time. Okay, they had given a possible timeline for him, and they jumped in early and caught everybody off guard. They're like, well, he has no experience. Why would he do it now? But they said, no, go now, because and I think they were smart. They were ahead of the game. 8 more years of existing in the political arena, and he could have been butchered and bloodied and no longer a viable candidate. And I think that with Hillary Clinton having been so butchered and bloodied and vetted.
I
that-
was just
I mean,
gonna say.
she's the opposite of coming out of left field. She's been walking from left field for 30 years, and you keep seeing her. So I think that the first woman to do this is going to have to, find a way to emerge in a contemporary society without being, shackled by everything that she's ever done for
How
her
about if we
entire
get?
life.
How about
What if we
Kate
have
Kate McKin-
transgender before woman?
Ooh, that'd be. Oh yeah.
I imagine that might happen before a woman.
What if we get Kate McKinnon as Hillary Clinton running for president?
Now that would be wildly entertaining.
That was an appropriate sound effect,
I like
wasn't it? Okay, good. Well, do you have any more questions for Mr. Connolly? You're usually a ball of questions, and we're just so I don't know. We're in a weird funk today.
You know, can I say, by the way, because I'm typically a very depressed person.
Yeah.
And the one saving grace for me is because everyone else around me is depressed. I kind of feel
You
know,
look like you're not
You're the
depressed
upbeat
today.
guy.
yeah, I'm the
Wow, I think we've learned a lesson from depression. Medication is not
So
the
you
answer.
know
It's,
what-
it's people that are worse off than you.
You know what?
exactly.
People need laughs. That's
Yes.
the one great thing about what we do, guys. I remember even we did a show literally on 9/11. I don't think you were there
No.
with us, but I'll never forget this day. We literally had a show planned that night, the night of 9/11. And we talked and talked about, do we do it? Is anyone going to come out? How is this going to go? And I can remember that show as if it was packed, by the way.
Was it here?
No, it was at the Toluca Lake Tennis Club. We were doing our Uncle Clyde's comedy contest and survival of the funniest shows over there. And it was such a strange night. We had the TV on in the bar, but then in the showroom, which was packed, people came from it was busier than like any normal night. And everyone was talking about they just wanted to be together. They wanted to be out somewhere. They wanted to socialize. And the comedy was, everyone was sensitive and, had to make a statement about it. But then when the laughs came, it was like 20 times the laughter because, comedy is so great. When we get to that down place, then we come with a good laugh. We come up so far with the laughter. It's just the laughs are bigger.
The term they'll use is Trump tharsis.
It's patent pending. Copyright.
Yeah. But
Well, I think it's true. I mean, people gather. When you gather, there's a sense of community and sameness, and
yeah,
it's kind of that unspoken bond. so
everyone wants to talk today about it. It's like I can't
That's
shut
why.
anyone
That's
up.
why I went to the movies.
You went to the movies today? Wait.
Because I didn't want to talk to them.
Another question by that. Sort of a non sequitur, but I noticed you're wearing our Burbank Comedy Festival T-shirt.
Yes,
Yes, I am.
Now, are you wearing it because you were kind of come to the podcast, or did this happen to fall on your cycle for that shirt? Because you seem like a kind of guy who has a T-shirt cycle.
You are close. It is either A, my way of showing support for Flappers Comedy Club and the Great Burbank Comedy Festival, or B, the last day of clean laundry in my cycle. So this is how I gauge no, it's not this shirt. I have a shirt which is specifically designed. There's an outfit that I keep that I should throw away, and I specifically keep it because it is the last line of demarcation for acceptable clothing to wear in public. And when I hit that shirt and I put it on and I see myself, it's like, you better do laundry today because after this, there's just nothing. I'll be borrowing my wife's clothes. So there is one specific shirt that I keep. And I see it coming. Like you take the shirt and you go, I'm 2 days away from that shirt. And once it hits.
Can you describe the shirt for us?
It is a unique shirt. It's I got it from a female Elvis impersonator in Chicago. And so, and it's autographed, by the way. So when and her name was Patty Elvis. And when I get to... When I hit Patty Elvis, and you see it coming because no one's ever seen the Patty Elvis shirt. I've never left the house in the Patty Elvis shirt. It's the shirt I wear when I'm staying home that day to clean the clothes that I can go out later that night. If I ever hit the stage in Patty Elvis here at Flappers, you know that I run out of clothes.
Duh. Winning.
Yeah, so there you have it, folks. That's the James P Connolly Patty Elvis theory of hygiene.
Well, I
Patio.
think it's super great. Every year you take the time to remember the vets and do this fundraiser shows. So we're really happy to have you again. I think this is our third year or fourth
It
year?
is, and this year it's
Third year.
great work with the Semper Fi Fund. They're one of the best, highest-rated organizations out there. They're just so prolific and very enthusiastic. And one of the founders of Semper Fi Fund will be here with her husband.
Oh, really?
She's going to come out on Saturday, and they've given some support literature. They're just so really involved and everywhere. And they were at the Marine Corps Marathon in D.C., so it's really good to work with a great organization. And P.J. Walsh does a lot of work with them. So, we try to it's like one day, pick a day. It's great Flappers. You guys have been absolutely fantastic about it. You give us a place to come do this, and people laugh. And there's so many great and talented comedians that are actually veterans that it's not that much part of our comedy makeup and life. But, on Veterans Day weekend, it's like, this is what we do, and this is what we used to do, and let's do it together and send some money to people that really work hard to help other people. And, and I may wear the Patty Elvis. I got Patty Elvis Saturday night.
Ooh, shut up.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Okay. This is funny. We actually reached out to a recruiting center, which is just across the street here from
I think I've seen it,
Flappers. And it's an Army recruiting center. So I don't know how that works. I'm not so in touch with the military, but I think all the branches support each other. They said we offered them some tickets for anybody who gets recruited this week.
Oh my gosh.
And I asked how many people get recruited. Do you know?
No.
He said 6, about 6 a week.
6 a week.
Six people a week. So
Well, if we get 6 people
we
and we
might
spread
have
them out in
6
this
people.
room, we
It's
could.
gonna be killer.
It would be very, very. There's part of me that would be like, "That's great," and there's part of you that's going to go, "Wow."
Do you think
But
do you think there's a Burbank unit? I mean, if
They're
do you think,
army though, so
like do they all in the do you think they all the same 6 people, or those 6 people go to like the
the same
the Burbank
place
number
when
7, like there's like Burbank Brigade.
No, I don't
Oh,
think Burbank
no.
has its own. I think if
Burbank-
Burbank was under siege, you're not going to see the Burbank 7 step up. The
No,
Burbank 7 sounds like Josh's superhero fantasy of 7 people who are overlooked by society, and suddenly we're tapped in, and Josh has superpowers that we've never seen. It's time for the Burbank 7.
The Burbanks. Or that's
you can tell how much Josh knows about getting recruited for the military.
Oh right. They
Yeah, they sweep you away in a plane immediately after you sign and take you off somewhere.
They take you to an underground training facility that used to be used by the Avengers, where they test you for superpowers,
All
Josh. Yes.
all right.
Exactly.
Got him. So you come to the show this weekend and watch these vets perform, will you?
Okay.
All right. Well, Mr. Connolly, thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to tell your listeners any new things are coming up for you, or your Twitter and where they should
Well, you
find
go
you and all
to
that?
JamesP.Connolly.tv. I'm at James P Connolly on Twitter.
.tv? You have a .tv?
I have a .tv because I did it before it was fashionable. Still
Woo!
isn't, but it's out there.
Love
And
it.
come out Veterans Day weekend. Great lineup, a lot of fun. A percentage of the proceeds go to Semper Fi Fund, courtesy of Flappers. And stay tuned for the special taping. I'm not saying where it's going to be, but it could be somewhere near where I'm speaking right now.
And Josh,
Loose.
who's in Burbank this weekend? I mean, Claremont this weekend. He's more obsessed with the sound effect.
We
than
have
I do.
Pete George, the rock star of
Oh,
comedy.
Do you know Pete George? Oh, he's been around a while too.
Yes.
What did you call him? The
rock star of comedy.
oh, that's his thing. The
Yeah.
rock star of comedy.
He's
Right.
not like Patty
the
Elvis
rock
rock star, but yeah, he's a rock star.
But he does have that same shirt.
He does. He does. No,
Yes.
there's only one other person I know that has it, and it was my friend, and he and I bought it together. And if I ever see another human walking the streets with Patty Elvis, I'm going to give them a knowing glance that only very few people can do.
Woo! And that money from Pete George's show is going to, comics, comedians.
Exactly.
So, not, we'll try to see if we can
Serving their
sucker some
country
money.
one joke at a time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bada boom. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for listening to another exciting episode of the Flappcast. We'll be back again next week with hopefully no election talk or no political talk whatsoever, like normal.
We should call this Flappcast the day after.
Thanks again for listening. Flap out. You ended.